Is finding a mentor essential to life, to a job, to one's career, to success? What's your take on this, and how do you feel about this?
That's a great question. I mean, think about life in general, right? We all have best friends, or we all have friends. We all have individuals, maybe it's our family, that we vent to, we go to push us for help. So as human beings, we do this naturally on a day-to-day basis. You could consider your friend a mentor, right? Through life. Okay. So if we're so apt and gravitate towards that as human beings, we should be doing the same thing for our career.
Hands down, the best way to learn UX is to copy world-class apps out there. Pixel by pixel, flow by flow. Why? Well, the best designers are working on these solutions, but you might not be able to get in the room with them. The next best thing is to study their designs, spacing, shadows, interactions, and ask yourself, why did they make these decisions? All can be answered by recreating the interface. This will teach you more than any other bootcamp. Discover how the world's top designers create world-class user experience on Mobbin, linked below. Thanks for sponsoring, and now back to the video.
We should be doing that for other areas of our focus. So to some extent, my answer is yes, I do think it's essential. It helps you get out of your own thinking and see situations in a different way. Okay. So it's not necessarily an easy thing to find. Again, you have to be bold and reach out to those individuals. But I think in order to grow, in order to be pushed, in order to think of different things and solutions in different ways, having that mentor or that individual you can bounce things off of, even just sometimes vent to about a situation at work, is a pretty crucial step of our career. And again, I'm going to go back to the fact that that is what we naturally do as human beings with friends and family.
Is there a place to find mentors on a specific level in their careers? My mentor's great, but is also so senior, there's a big disconnect because maybe she doesn't even remember what it's like to be in a beginner's shoe and just entering the field. This is a big topic. What kind of mentor should you be looking for? Someone like really further along, or just someone a couple of steps? Like, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, and Lucy, that's a phenomenal question as well, because sometimes we can get out of our scope with, sometimes if you're talking to somebody so senior, and what if they haven't been in the job market? They just don't have any purview as to what you're going through directly, right? So quick example, again, I keep going back to somewhat LinkedIn because I personally have created so many relationships and forged so many friendships with and very close relationships with other designers on my very specific level, which helps answer this question. But I think really gravitating towards people who are, maybe if you're a junior, having that individual who's a junior just to commiserate with, maybe not even necessarily looking at them as that direct mentor, but helping guide each other through those things. So on LinkedIn, I actually communicate with a lot of design leaders. I am in their comments. I listen to what they're saying to other people. So from that, we've actually formed a Slack group of design leaders. And now we meet monthly to kind of go through and talk about challenges that we face, because there's something about having a mentor on a peer level who can relate directly through what you're going through, right? So I think you can probably find these individuals on, something like ADP list as well. But even like, I think your location, Chris, you had mentioned earlier about, sometimes you're in a location where maybe you don't have the biggest ability to meet other people and go out, but some of us are in locations where we can do that, right? So, I mean, I'm in Nebraska, so we don't have this like bolstering community here by any stretch of means, but we do have actually a pretty large UX group. I go to these events regularly, right? I find people in my community directly who I can talk to, and we've formed Slack channels or Slack groups as well, and meet on a regular basis. So don't discount the people directly in your community and creating these circles of people. So I don't think there's a clear cut answer. And that's the struggle with those questions, is how do I find somebody on my level? There's so many different ways that you can do it. But I think it brings up a great point that it's just as crucial to have those people directly next to your level that you can commiserate with, talk about what you're going through, paths they've chosen, how can I do it differently, what have you encountered versus me, as opposed to that very senior person who's going to grow you in your career, right? So
Yeah, yeah. And I love this question because it just hits to the point. Should I have to pay for mentorship?
I it depends on what you're looking for, right? Obviously, to me, I don't ask for I don't want to be paid for direct mentorship, right? There's something about guiding people. Now, if you're looking for coaches and things along those lines, career coaches, that's a whole different web that we can untangle here. Certainly would pay for that. But as a mentor, I'm literally doing it to help. I am there to help guide. I've put a lot of years into this industry. I've had a lot of amazing mentors on my path. So I look at it as giving back as well. So I don't expect to get payment for a lot of those things. Now, I've been in circumstances where, maybe an individual wants to meet an hour each week, and now we're getting into really burly problems. Well, that starts really getting onto that coaching side of things. But I mean, I don't think you should have to pay for mentorship, which is why I do like things like ADP list. But I know there's going to be a lot of different answers to that question. Chris, you may even have a different take than me on this one. So
Yeah, so I was on ADP list for a while, but what I found, not not a comment on like the platform, like it just facilitates conversation, like Zoom, like Restream, what we're using now. So it's not the platform, but what I found was one, mentees being unprepared. Two, kind of, it was a bit awkward, to be honest. And a lot of folks are just kind of like one and done. And maybe this is mentorship dating, and I completely understand that. And I found myself not that invested in someone's growth. Because I think if I was serious about mentorship, it would be more kind of long term, and like I want to see you like kind of grow, and I want to be a part of that impact. Whereas I think ADP list, it feels a little bit transactional, although there's no money involved. So how I think about it now is like, sure, I'm happy to give mentorship if you're actually going to treat this seriously, like it's a thing that, we come together, you prepare, you actually go do the work. There's a commitment involved, right? Like with any relationship, friendship, there's commitment, right? You're going to be there for me, I'm going to be there for you. So the easiest way to do this is if you pay for something, right? You're going to value it more anyway. That's just how human psychology works. And that's my take now. I could change my tune, like, down the line, but I've changed it to this just so folks are a little bit more prepared and they value it more, and we can build something like long term together. I don't know, Molly, how do you feel about this?
yeah, I think that's a great point, because I think what people have to understand too is being a mentor, there's also preparation we have to put in on our side, right? If you're a good mentor and you're a strong mentor, and what I mean by that is I have even outside of ADP list, I have quite a network of mentees. I have a Notion keeping track of everything. Like in calls, I will say, like, I work with a lot of seniors. Okay, so maybe I'm giving them a template or a worksheet or something to, here's a framework for you to use this. I have to remember to get that framework, create that framework, send that framework to them, and check in, right? So actually, the more mentees you have, it does become very, very time consuming. But I think you hit a really good point, Chris, is how prepared are you? Like on ADP lists, like it's these quick little 30-minute things, but I think it's value of time as well. And, if I think some mentors have a lot of mentees, and to get those spaces, maybe you do have to pay, right? So I think it's just so circumstantial to who the individual is. Like if it's a close confidant, a peer, a coworker of mine, of course I'm not going to pay them, right? Like that's just like we talk, we communicate. I have found that person internally. But if I'm reaching out to somebody who coins themselves and positions themselves as a mentor, I can probably expect to pay something. So
Yeah, I would probably offer first because I appreciate the time that this person is giving. And if they're like a lot of steps above me in the career, I'm like, oh no, I'm pretty lucky to kind of tap into what they know and their experience, right? So let's say I found a mentor and we're, getting along, but maybe sometimes it's awkward, right? So any advice on how to build like a stronger connection with this person now that you're kind of like, I've dated around, this is the one?
yeah, right. Because
Want to listen to the full conversation? Click the video on screen now. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join us live. Oh, wait. Okay, fine, you don't have to join us for the live stream, but if you like stuff like this, then click that subscribe button. I'll see you on the inside. Bye!